If you're over 40 and running a business, chances are you're brilliant at balancing the books, budgets, margins, forecasts, all of that second nature. But when it comes to your health, especially around food and drink, the books are often all over the place. And it usually shows up around your waistline. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Gavin Walsh, and I help business leaders over 40 look leaner, feel stronger, and stay in shape without giving up their social life, their career, or that Sunday roast. I do love a Sunday roast. And one of the biggest things I talk to with my clients, especially new clients, is balancing the books. You see, most of the people I work with are in and out of networking events, client lunches, conferences, and team dinners. Food and wine are often part of the job. It's not about getting hammered or anything like that. It's about connection. It's about partnerships, networking. It's business. But here's the problem. If you're trying to lose fat or just not to gain it year after year after year, these events need some strategy because it's not the odd indulgence that does the damage. It's the lack of foresight. The usual advice is to dial things down on the day. Go small on the portions, maybe go for a salad, skip the snacks. And yeah, that can work. That's not a problem. But let's be honest, when you're juggling meetings, deadlines, family life, and trying not to burn out, spending all day negotiating with yourself about food just adds more stress to your plate. Excuse the pun. You're thinking, is this light enough? Should I have half the wrap? Do I have a snack? I'm not sure. I'm feeling a bit peckish. So it's mental gymnastics, and that's something that you don't need. So here's a much simpler option that I sometimes use with clients, especially if they have a busy calendar with networking, client lunches, and all that kind of stuff. And something that might help you too. It's quite simple. It's don't eat. Yep, just don't eat. I'm actually talking about fasting. So push your breakfast back, skip it if you're not hungry, maybe roll through lunch with a black coffee and crack on with the rest of your day. I would say 16 to 18 hours is the sweet spot. You'd actually start your fast the day before, and it would mean skipping breakfast or pushing it back a little bit. Now, it's not about starving yourself. That's definitely not the idea here, but you're trying to simplify your life and, importantly, balance the books. So it gives you the headspace. You're not wasting brain power on food decisions, and you've already made the call. So I'm not eating. I'm going to eat later. Done. Yes, fasting helps reduce calories, but only if you put a lid on it. So if we're using fasting as a strategy, I like to cap it at around 1,000 calories. So I don't mean tracking things, looking at what food is what in terms of its calorie count, but a rough guideline. So that might mean one proper meal later in the day, or it might mean a light lunch and then just a regular sized dinner. You could just go with black coffee, a bit of protein around lunchtime, and then maybe a low calorie dinner. It doesn't have to be too rigid. So simple, flexible, keep it controlled. And here's where most people get it wrong. They fast all day and then they use it as an excuse to go full caveman at dinner. So bread basket, three courses, dessert, and a bottle of red to boot as well. So that's a big no-no. That's not going to work. So fasting isn't a reward system. It's not a green light to undo the plan. It's just a tool, and it works best when it's used before the event, ideally the day before. Okay, so if you've got a big dinner, say Thursday night, that's fine. Fast on the Wednesday. So you'd actually start that fast Tuesday night, going into Wednesday. Cap it at 1,000 calories, create that headspace, create a calorie deficit ahead of time, not as a last minute panic. That way you walk into the business dinner, client lunch, client dinner, whatever it is, calm and not starving, not ravenous. So you make better food choices that way. You enjoy the evening without going overboard. And if the night does get a little bit carried away, which sometimes it does, that's fine. It's no guilt. You can balance the books the next day too. So what you could do is go light again, go for a walk, hydrate, maybe get a workout in. And in terms of going light, just cap it at 1,000 calories or thereabouts. Not necessarily fasting again. You could do, but definitely going light the next day. Because let's be honest, those three-course meals can come with a very hefty price tag in terms of calories. And this is where long-term success happens. So not in being perfect, but being aware, having a system, and knowing how to course correct, because I've seen it time and time again. People in their 40s, in their 50s, gaining just, 1, 2 kilos a year, nothing dramatic. But fast forward 10 years and they've put on 15 kilos and they're asking, how did this happen? I eat fairly healthily. What's going on? And for a lot of people, they do actually eat fairly healthy. A lot of my clients, they eat very well, but it's the excess. Okay. It wasn't one meal, it was the slow creep. So having no foresight, no strategy, just going into these client lunches, these networking events, and eating more than their body needs. Think of it this way: it wouldn't let your business overspend week after week. You'd make cuts, you'd shuffle the budgets, you'd plan ahead, and your health deserves the same attention. Big dinner on the cards, create that deficit beforehand, have the foresight to do that, anticipate those events. And this is how busy people with busy calendars in terms of client lunches, networking events, conferences, they stay lean without living in the gym, without tracking every bite, and without missing out on a decent glass of red occasionally. You're already a pro at balancing the books. Now just apply that same level of thinking to your plate and you'll do a lot better. Now, before I wrap this up, just a quick reminder here. Fasting is just a tool. It's one option in your toolbox. It's a way to simplify things and keep you on track during a busy social week. Are you going to fast for the rest of your life? Well, I wouldn't. And it's certainly not something that I see as a long-term strategy. And so I wouldn't recommend you do either. So while fasting can help create structure, especially around big meals, the real long-term progress, this still comes from the basics. Sleep, move more, lift some weights, eat mostly whole foods, dodge the liquid calories whenever you can. That's the stuff that matters the most. So fasting is just a tactic to help you stay in control when life and your calendar get a little bit chaotic. Use it when it makes sense, but don't rely on it forever. And don't forget, long-term success comes from doing the simple stuff consistently well. You've already got the mindset to manage risk, plan ahead, and stay in control. Now it's just about applying that same level of thinking to your health. And look, if you need help putting all of this together with accountability, with structure, and proper guidance that actually fits into your busy lifestyle, click the link below or drop me a message. This is exactly what I do and how I help business leaders over 40 lose fat, feel better, and stay consistent without giving up on their social life or living in the gym 24/7. You don't need to go all in. You just need a plan that works for you and your lifestyle, and someone, perhaps, to keep you on track when life gets busy. And of course, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow. That's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.